in a failure, there are lessons to be learned. And that's what Rick is saying here. If you go down a wrong turn, you're going to see things that you would have missed if you didn't make that wrong turn. So is it really a wrong turn? Or was it a turn you needed to make to learn something new? Well, it's Friday, so that means it's time for another episode of Beyond the Notes. I hope you had a great week, and hopefully you've been following along on the daily notes, either through your email or through LinkedIn, more towards email. If you haven't subscribed, you should probably do so soon, but that's all right. I got you covered. We're going to go through this week's notes and hit each one of them rather quickly, but let's get to it. So we're going from the 22nd to today, the 28th, and we're going to hit each one of them. So let's start with the 22nd. And the title of that daily note was Like Attracts Like. And the premise behind that was that we've grown up with these sayings our whole life. Two peas in a pod, birds of a feather flock together, which I didn't realize this until doing my research, that actually doesn't mean what we think it means. The beginning of it, birds of a feather flock together, meant to be that people who are alike come together, and that's what it means. But the finish of that statement is until the cat comes, which then means that all of the birds disperse. So it was less about coming together with people who are like-minded and more about, people come together but then everybody disperses, and it's more of a negative statement. So I didn't know that until doing my research. But anyways, that's not how it's used, so I'm going to apply the birds of a feather flock together, meaning that like-minded people come together. So we know that the law of attraction exists. You've probably experienced it but maybe didn't realize it. And why this is so important on your pursuit is when we get to our mindset and the thoughts and the energies that we put out. What we put out is what is going to attract. So as you go on your pursuit and you're thinking about where you want to go or what you might want to have happen or what your authentic life looks like, be mindful of the energy that you put out. Because whatever it is that you put out is more than likely what's going to be coming to you. So you know the law of attraction exists. You've seen it, you've been told it, but do you really try to use that to your advantage? Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I can guarantee to you that if you put something out, exactly that is going to come to you. I think it is more of an energy type of thing. And there are other people who go deeper, but I'm just speaking from my experience and my own reading, that it's more about the energy they put out. If you put out positive energy and positive thoughts, things are going to come your way. You might be able to channel that energy towards a certain direction, meaning this is where I want to go in my career. This is what I want to have happen with the people I'm around. This is where I want to go financially. And that energy can move you in that direction, but I don't know if you can say, this is the energy I'm putting out. I want this exact dollar amount in my bank account, and that it's going to go that way. I think it's more about having a positive mindset, having positive thoughts going out there, and bringing more positive to you. And then when you have those things that are more of a challenge or a trial, trying to not let that negative, if we're going to go positive, negative, that negative energy persists for too long. So be mindful of the law of attraction. You know that it exists, and you know that it is real. Use that as a framework for centering your thoughts and moving you forward. Let me make a look and make sure I don't miss anything else on that I wanted to go over. The only other caveat is I do think that the law of attraction has been ruined in some sorts by marketers. Going back to, I don't think the law of attraction is going to bring you exactly the thing that you want. Maybe it will, but I think it's more about the direction and the energy and the things that happen to you, whether they're moving you or pulling you back. You have the books like The Secret that are just like, you got to want it bad enough, it's going to bring it. That's not the way it really works. So when you're thinking of the law of attraction, how that plays out in your life and how like attracts like, think more of it as a framework for the energy and thoughts that you put out and that you allow yourself to think, and then go from there. Don't go necessarily so far to be like The Secret and think, I'm going to think this exact thing, I'm going to attract it to you. That's not been my experience. My experience is more energy and thoughts. So, all right, that's enough on like, attract, likes. Let's go to the 23rd. Look inside. Now, this is short and sweet, and I want to make sure I get the quote correct. Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes. And that's from Carl Jung, who's a very world famous. I don't know if he's a neuroscientist, but working in the realm of the mind. And everything we need is already within us. We've talked about it before. I've written about it before. That so many times we look externally for validation, for confidence, when really we only need to look internally. We need to do the things that we feel called to do, that we feel best about, and let that determine how we should feel in the direction that we go. So don't look externally, because as Carl suggests, you're dreaming. If you look internally, you awake and you have more clarity, you know where to go. So it kind of spills into the last one we're going to talk about today, trusting your intuition. I don't think that you're able to really look internally, look within, and to awaken if you don't have that connection between spirit and mind, and probably body a little bit, but I think more spirit and mind. So allowing yourself to explore how to connect with your spiritual self, how to connect with your mind. And in doing that, I believe it will help you have a better opportunity to look inside, one, for the happiness and defining it yourself, but also to really understand who you are and what you want, and then move forward. So look within, not so much without. And you'll have a lot of good luck and good direction as you move forward on your pursuit. All right, the 24th. When do you feel the best? And I'm going to start off with what I know to make me feel the best, to give you an idea of what it is that I'm talking about and thinking about. So maybe last week, I got done working out, I went upstairs and I talked to my wife and said, I don't know why I don't do this every day. I want to work out every day, and life comes up. We've all got excuses, and I don't. But when I do, I feel the best. And made me think about, well, what are the days that I absolutely feel my best? Feel my best from a standpoint of my body feels good, my mind feels good, I'm more productive, I'm more creative. Like, what do I need to do to feel that? And I know for a fact the things I need to do every single day to hit that feeling. It's waking up relatively early, before everybody else gets up, and I'm going to list meditating, doing breath work, getting in some early morning workout, whether that is a Peloton ride or a tonal workout, or in an ideal world, both. Getting those things done first and foremost in the morning. And then do my normal routine. Getting Leo up, getting him ready, and then when he's gone, it's the daily notes. Having a moment early in the day to be a little creative and tap into the inner creator and get something done. And then going to yoga at 9:30. And then getting to my day. Like after 9:30, the day is filled with seeing clients, doing administrative work, doing my job. Like that's fine, but yoga needs to happen as a part of that. I feel so good coming out of that yoga class knowing everything I need to do from a physical standpoint has already been done for the day. If I'm fortunate to squeeze in some weightlifting with the boys or another workout later, that's great. That's, cherry on top. But I know everything I need to do to take care of my body, I've done for the day. Evening rolls around, have some time to wind down, time with family, try to eat healthy, try to eat clean. This is one of the areas that, just like all of us, I struggle sometimes. And then get to bed at a decent hour. If I do those things and consistently do them day after day, I feel amazing. But yet, I know that, and I don't do it every single day. And it's excuses, because the reality of it is I have prioritized a lot of it, and I do probably 75 to 80% of those tasks every single day. But every once in a while, there are things that get missed, or every day something gets missed. And I don't know why I can't get myself back into the routine of getting up at 5 o'clock to get everything done. It's 5:30, 5:45, 6, and just not enough time to get everything in the morning. But it all starts for me with that morning wake up. And if I wake up and I get up and I do those things, then the rest of the day is great. So the challenge for you is to think about, when do you feel your best? And I don't think it's just body. I think it's everything. When do you feel your best? What are the activities you need to do? What are the foods you need to be, like all the details. And then write those things down and then begin to make them a priority in your life so you can do those things as many days as possible, giving you the best chance to feel as good as possible as many days as you can. Because when you're feeling your best, you're going to be your best. And one of the greatest gifts we can give to everybody is to be our best version of ourselves. But it all starts with putting yourself in a position, whatever it may be, to get there, to feel your best. And it's no coincidence that for me, and I think it's going to be the case for you if you need some direction, that giving attention to spirit, mind, and body will get you in a path of feeling the best. What those things are will vary from everybody, but spirit, mind, and body, paying attention to each of those every single day, and then filling in the gaps is probably going to get you moving in the direction of when you feel your best. But you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to everybody else to put yourself to where you're feeling the best every single day, and knowing what those things are will help you. All right, the 26th. Your definition of success. And success is a word that we all are familiar with. We all want to be successful, but what does that really mean? Well, there is a societal definition of success, and that is tied to material things, incomes, net worths, houses, cars, trips, clothes, brands. That's how we judge success. And in today's age with social media, it makes it even harder for us to not look to that as the definition of success. Because who are the people that have the greatest followings? The people who have bigger audiences and tend to be more famous and deemed more successful and money and all those things. And while that could be a definition of success, it's not my role to tell you what your definition of success is. My role is to challenge you to come up with your own definition of success. What is that definition? And if it happens to be the American dream version of success, then great. But I'm willing to bet your definition of success extends beyond that and is not that definition. So what is it? How do you define success? When you look back over your life, what do you want people to say about you? I have a friend who's come up with the concept of writing your own obituary. What would you write in your obituary? And use that as the beginning of a foundation of what your definition of success would be. I doubt you're going to write in your obituary, so you accumulated X amount of dollars and had this many businesses and all these different material things. It's going to be I was a good father, I was a good friend, I was a mentor, I inspired people. Like, how do you define success? And when you find that definition of success, tune out everybody else's. You don't have to let somebody else determine what success is for you, because success is going to be tied to your authentic life. The life that you are supposed to live, doing the things that you can do better than nobody else, will help you determine what success is. So how can somebody else who doesn't understand that life come up with what your definition is? So your definition of success is yours. You shouldn't put your definition on anybody else, just like you shouldn't accept anybody else into anybody else's definition into your authentic life. So how do you define success? And I'll go back to the quote I started off with from Albert Einstein. Try not to become a man of success, rather become a man of value. And as I think about that, it doesn't really tie into defining success, but I think it's an interesting perspective of don't make success your goal. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but just a thought to think about. That's what's awesome about these daily notes and these videos. It's me being able to sit with my own thoughts, and maybe you get something out of it. But rather than make that definition of success your goal, my guess is you get that definition of success through being a man of value, mentoring, father, spouse, whatever it might be. So if we focus on those, being those high quality, high value people, then by nature we'll probably end up getting success. So I think it is, don't focus on success. Don't make that your goal. Other things that align with that need to be your focus and your goal, and by default, you will become successful in your definition. So I'm going to sit with that some more and see if I have deeper thoughts on it, but it was something as I was just reading the quote on my iPad I wanted to throw out there. All right, so that is the 26th. Let's go to wrong turns. That was the 25th, sorry. Wrong turns on the 26th. And there's a quote from Rick Rubin, who you all know I am a huge fan of Rick Rubin. And it starts off with, taking a wrong turn allows you to see landscapes you wouldn't have otherwise have seen. And so many times we're afraid to try new things because we're afraid to fail. Well, I don't believe in failures. And if you listen to Giannis after the Bucks were eliminated, he doesn't either. And because the reason is, and which I agree with Giannis, is that in a failure, there are lessons to be learned. And that's what Rick is saying here. If you go down a wrong turn, you're going to see things that you would have missed if you didn't make that wrong turn. So was it really a wrong turn? Or was it a turn you needed to make to learn something new, to meet somebody new, to be exposed to something new? So when you're going on your pursuit, don't always stay on the path that you have created for yourself. Hopefully it's the path you've created for yourself. Be willing and be free to explore a little bit, experiment. See what it's like to be a different version of yourself. See what it's like to learn something new. And maybe you come back to the path you were on, or maybe that turn is one that isn't a wrong turn and it takes you down a whole new path. But you'll never know if you don't go down. And if you're afraid to make a wrong turn, to have to double back and pivot back because you think it's a waste, then you're never going to see those landscapes that maybe you need to see that Rick is referring to. So don't be afraid. Give yourself permission to experiment. Give yourself permission to explore. And know that even if it doesn't lead you to where you thought you were, or you have to turn back around, you will have grown, you will have learned because you went down that path. There are no wrong turns, just like there are no failures. There is a lesson to be learned if you are present and aware enough to pick up on it. I guess you could make a wrong turn just like you could fail if you go down and come back and take nothing from it. So as you go down, be aware, be present. Take in that landscape that you would have missed before and take that back with you to help you as you get back on your path, because you will be better and it will move you further in the direction of your authentic life. All right, let's get to the next one. Tuning into abundance. There's the abundant mindset and there's the scarcity mindset. And I think a lot of us suffer from the mindset of scarcity. There's not enough, I'm not enough. When the reality of it is, if you take an honest look at life, your life and the world, there is plenty of abundance. You just might not be seeing it. You might not be allowing yourself to see it. And I love this quote from Wayne Dwyer, which I did not know him before I found this quote. Abundance is not something we acquire. It's something we tune into. And I think I got the quote from the Open app, which is what I use for meditation. So shout out to the folks at Open for putting this quote in front of me. Abundance is not something we acquire. It is something we tune into. Many times when we think about abundance, we go to money, we go to material things and wanting to have more and getting to a point where we have enough. And I agree that abundance is not something that we acquire. It's something that's already there and we tune into. We just have to allow ourselves to tune into it. And I'm going to be a broken record, but connecting your spirit, mind, and body will help you tune into the abundance in your life. Sometimes you have to find a little bit of momentum, build a little bit of momentum. And when you're looking for abundance, if you're struggling to see it, you just look out at your life and your experience, and there's not enough of anything, you're not happy, there's not abundance, and you're a half-empty type of person. Look for little things. I was listening to one meditation, and they said, looking for abundance, look for abundance of flowers. There's an abundance of grass. Like there's an abundance of everything in your life. And once you begin to tune in to abundance, even on a very small and maybe meaningless level, it allows you to see abundance in everything. So I have a daily affirmation. We've talked about some of them before, but one of them is, and actually it's the one that it's my second one, I live in a state of abundance. I live in abundance. And then I list abundance of love, of great people, of opportunities, of money, of freedom, of choice. I live in a state of abundance. And I remind myself of that every day. I don't really think I need to, but I want to remind myself of that every day so that I never lose sight of being able to see the abundance that is there. You have a lot of abundance. Can you have a lot of abundance? You have abundance in your life. You just need to begin to tune into it instead of trying to go collect it and accumulate it. It's already there. And when you're free to be able to see the abundance, then it takes off the desire to go accumulate the abundance, which ultimately will bring you greater happiness because you're not so fixated on things that aren't going to bring you happiness. So you already have abundance in your life. You need to tune into it. Connect that spirit, connect that mind, listen to your body as well, and you will see the abundance that's in your life, which will bring more abundance to you. And we end with trust your intuition. So this was the one I wrote today. And intuition is the whisper of the soul. You know your intuition. You may not always listen to it, but you know that gut feeling. And how many times has that gut feeling been wrong? Most of the time, it's right. Yet, there's something about the way we're hardwired, and I have no science data to back this up, but it's got to be something with the way we're wired, that we value the opinions and feedback of others more than what we feel internally and listen to our intuition. Meaning, your gut can tell you one thing, but if enough people or the right person or a specific person tells you another, you're going to follow what the others say. It's almost like we don't know ourselves well enough that we have to rely on what other people think. And that's backwards. If you believe this quote, that the intuition is the whisper of the soul, your soul is your connection to the higher power, whatever you believe in, that is going to be guiding things. So if the higher power is communicating through your soul to give you a clue, a feeling of the direction you need to go, why would you ever doubt that? It's why the saying is trust your gut. And when you do trust your gut, it usually leads you in the right direction. When you go against it, it usually doesn't play out the way you want it to. So you need to learn to trust your intuition. And again, connecting spirit and mind and body. Because for me, at least, Intuition sometimes is a feeling. It just feels right. And that feeling is a combination of something in my mind, the way my spirit feels, and then the way my body feels. They are all giving me a message to tell me this is the direction you need to go. So trust your intuition. It's not going to steer you wrong because it is connected to your spirit, to your soul, which is connected to your higher power, which is the all-knowing and trying to tell you this is the direction you need to go. Hey, dummy, listen to you. I'm giving you clues. This is where you need to go. Don't listen to the outside. Now, the caveat being, I still believe it's good to get feedback and opinions from other people and use those as inputs to help your intuition speak. But the final decision shouldn't be what other people say. It should be your intuition. And if you can't get a clear read of your intuition, then I think it means you need to spend more time connecting to spirit, mind, and body. You need to clear things out. You need to journal. You need to meditate. You need to do certain things to clear out the noise so you can tap in and tune into your intuition. And again, when you have that alignment, it becomes a lot easier. Your intuition talks to you a lot, and you're able to navigate a lot easier. That's why people sometimes seem like they know always the right moves to make. I'm willing to bet they have a good connection of spirit, mind, and body, and the intuition is guiding them, and it's almost like a cheat code. So trust your intuition. Trust your gut. It's not going to steer you wrong. All right, that is it for this week. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you are watching this on YouTube or listening to it on the podcast, but I'll be making clips of these as well. I've been enjoying the daily notes, and I'm really enjoying these beyond the notes because, as I mentioned earlier, this is an opportunity for me to take this first thought and then re-examine it and dive deeper. So hopefully the notes and the message from the video and the podcast is helping you a little bit navigate your pursuit and figure these things out, but it's also helping me out as well. So with that, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me on my pursuit. As always, it's an honor to be a part of yours, and let's keep pursuing.